Hi, and welcome to Old Guys Gentlemen Flex Fountain Pens. And this is episode number 13. Today I'm going to be covering a Parker Vacumatic that was made in about 1939. It's an emerald pearl celluloid. And it's a really pretty pen. By the way, this is not a particularly great flex pen, but it really is beautiful. Let me see if I can get a little bit better light on this. Isn't that cool? Even the, I think you call this the finial. It's got a jewel on it that sort of matches the color. And same, or maybe this is the finial and this is the cap end. I've got to learn my my terms better. But it just looks really great. Very cool design on the clip here. Kind of a deco with a little blue diamond. Nice pattern on there. I really got this. I spent more on this pen than any other pen so far, and this is by far my prettiest pen. I believe this is a steel nib with palladium coating on it. I tried to look around, but it's definitely steel with some sort of plating, gold plating, or somebody mentioned palladium. There's a 9 on here. There's 3 dots after the name and then a 9 after that. And the restorer who sold this to me said it was a 1939. Other things about this pen, it's a Speedline filler. You could barely tell there's a section there. I guess the earlier models had a little lock on there. I find the fill on this interesting compared to some of the other, like the early Watermans, which are lever fillers, or a Crescent, which is basically still a sack filler. This is kind of a pump action. And you know, I looked at buying some Vacumatics in order to get at a lower price that needed a lot of work. But the detail work that goes into replacing a diaphragm and saving the little ball, you have to spend, from what I can tell, about $100 on tools just to pull all apart. Putting the new diaphragm in with the ball is also somewhat tricky. I think I'll eventually get to the point where I'll try that, but not for a little while. It says number 9 on it. I think that has to do with the date, as far as I can tell. If somebody could correct me on that, that would be nice. I like it capped like I like all my pens. It's got a nice thickness to it. The section is about 10 to 12 millimeters. The max barrel diameter is about 13.3 millimeters. Some other dimensions are, when it's capped, it's 13.3 centimeters. When it's posted like it is right now, it's 15.7 millimeters. And I'm one of those guys who like that extra little bit of weight hanging off the side here. Weight. The weight capped is 23.2 grams. The weight without the cap is 15.2. And I have to start comparing lengths and what I'm comfortable with. I'm almost comfortable with this unposted. Boy, that's a pretty knife. Too bad my fingers are so messed up with ink. You can kind of see here some of the line variation that you can get. It goes from an extra fine with a light hand up to double bold if you're pressing pretty hard. And you got to press pretty hard. This is, I would say, somewhere between a rigid nib and a semi-flex. It's pretty wet. The good stuff I like about it is it's gorgeous. Never thought I'd say that about a pen before. Great craftsmanship wherever I look. A lot of attention to detail. Has a nice feel in my hand. The writing is very smooth. Some of the stuff I don't like is the fact that it was kind of expensive. You can get these at lower costs if you're willing to do your own restoration, which I'll do eventually. But this was kind of expensive, but I think it's worth it. I got in the habit of buying pretty things with some of the knife collections that I have. Things that they aren't bad, they're just what they are, is I understand that it's hard to find a nib with a Parker that is flexy. They're out there, but I think they're even more expensive. I just wish it was a little bit flexier. I like that extra spring in the nib when I'm writing. The other thing is that if I ever did get to the point where I had to replace the diaphragm or fix this, I've watched lots of YouTube videos now, and these are not as easy as slipping another bag on a old Waterman section. But those are minor things, except I wish I had it more flex. But it's a great pen. Got to do my obligatory hello. So you can see there's a little bit of flex. But I really wouldn't use it for that. My Coca-Cola C. So you can do some slight shading, but again, I really don't think it's good for that. And it's not even worth doing the the springiness thing because it doesn't spring, which I think is what you get with a steel nib, unless you're talking about a Comic G nib. Just notice I didn't draw hello on there. I went hella. It's a hella pretty knife. The point I was going to make was that some steel nibs, like this is a calligraphy nib, Comic G Zebra nib, which can write very wide lines. Made a mess there. And I'm not even sure if I proved any sort of point. Completely different nib. But you can make steel flexy. I guess that was my point. This is not flexy. So enough of that dribble. So I hope you got some value out of it. I know with these vintage pens, it's not like reviewing something new coming out of the manufacturer. Each one will be somewhat different in its performance and depending on who's had it over the years and what they've done to it. But this will give you a general idea what happens if you can get a nice pretty Parker Vacumatic like this. And I think that's it. Until next time, goodbye.